everyone. Good morning, good morning. I am so excited to spend this morning with you talking about how to end the stress cycle. I don't know about you, but I have definitely been experiencing it's not lashback, you know what it actually is the upgrading that we're going through as a collective. But if you have been feeling like you're driving, you feel all of that adrenaline, you're so frustrated, not just from driving, but from everything else, you just want to scream in your car. Or maybe it feels like it's so intense and what you want to do is just curl into a ball and cry. And it feels like it's not safe for us to do any of that because we're pretty little ladies, right? You know, we're moms, we're put together, we're the wives who take care of the household, whatever that is. We're the independent women or men, so we don't have permission to curl up into a ball in the fetal position and just cry it out, right? So what do we do? What do we do when we feel all of that stress, when we feel all of that adrenaline, the anxiousness? And this showed up for me. I'm going to share that story in here. Hardcore, and also showed up for so many of my clients in different ways, in different levels, in different experiences. And so I wanted to share, and actually a book that I was learning this from, about how to end the stress cycle, like recognizing it, understand the difference between the stress, which is the reaction that you have, versus the stressor, which is the factor that actually causes the stress and why you're feeling stressed out in the first place, because that's really, really a big separation. And then also understanding the stress cycle itself, like how does that work and how is it navigated within your body? Once we have that awareness, then we can move forward. And then, of course, how to complete the cycle. So I actually have my favorite way to complete the cycle. It's been really very successful for myself and then also for my clients, but I will also share with you a few other ways if you're not as extreme as I am. So, hey, Alex. Hey, everyone who's hopping on here. And Lindsay, yes, if you comment, it helps me see you and know exactly who's on. I want to send you guys so much love. And again, good morning. So we'll hop right in to why I'm doing this training. Obviously, I've experienced it. Other people have. I've always struggled with anxiety. Like I used to be highly medicated when I was in college because it was awful. And my whole experience in college is great. Everything is great. But I was so incredibly stressed and I was getting maybe an average of like 3 to 4 to maybe 5 hours of sleep a night, a full-time schedule. I was an athletic trainer for Colin Kaepernick when he was actually at UNR. I was there during that time, so there's like a lot of stress, and so I used to take medication for my anxiety, and now I'm not. I have these holistic tools, but when I moved into my new house, all of a sudden, all of my old traumas bubbled up to the surface because in my background and my experience that anytime I had to move, I was uprooted and it meant trauma of some way of, being taken away by social services or being abandoned from my other house or being a single mom. Like it was associated with trauma and I never had the ability to process those emotions because I just had to hurry up and buckle up and move through it. Can you guys recognize that? And now I'm in the most beautiful space in my life and I'm so safe. And all of those compounded emotions from decades of trauma came flooding in, and this anxiety, oh my gosh, it was so debilitating, it was so crippling. I just laid in bed and cried. My husband's like, why isn't anything unpacked? And I was like, I can't explain it. It was the weirdest thing. It's like, I'm happy, I have every reason to be happy, everything is so perfect, but all this anxiety was showing up. And with that, anxiety is a sign of stress. By the way, I'm dog sitting. Can you hear that? Sweet Daisy. So if you hear groaning sounds, I promise I'm not tooting. That is the dog. I pinky promise. Anyways, so I had so much anxiety, and it was also being incredibly psychic and picking up from the collective and holding space for as many people as I do on social media and clients and all of the things. And I was like, I got to figure out how to deal with this. And so that's what I'm going to dive into today. And then these tools have radically, they've helped me so much. And I know that they will be a gift and a super helpful tool for you. So let's first identify and say hello to everything that's happening in the world right now, because 2020 is the year to remember. Like the most dramatic things have happened. Boom, 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 one thing after the other. So if you're feeling all of that, right now every planet is pretty much in retrograde, which is bananas. So we're feeling that as well, like whether it's the technology going out or it's your friends are sassing you and maybe they're passive aggressive, or you're arguing with your partner, or something isn't going right. Like you order, even this happens a lot during retrograde. Like I ordered something and it's like, oh, it's delayed. Oh, it's delayed. Oh, it's delayed. And it's like, okay, let's cosmically, emotionally, physically, environmentally, like all of the things. Can we get it together? So let's say hello to that. Give yourself some grace if you are feeling these deep emotions. Now let's separate and identify the stress from the stressor. Again, the stress is the reaction that you're feeling, the anxiousness, the tenseness, like, for me, it feels like a motor in my system where I'm like, I gotta do this and this and this. Oh my gosh, there's too much that I have to do. Oh my gosh, Cassie says, this anxiety sounds like me. It leaves me unproductive and needing to disassociate, which makes me angry at myself for not living up to my full potential. Oh my gosh, are you like in my brain? Because that's pretty much exactly what I think. And so I thank you for sharing that, Cassidy, because if you're going through it, I'm going through it, I know that there are other people who are resonating with that as well. So number one, like, give yourself that grace and know that we are human and we are allowed to have these emotions. But also understand, like, if we are feeling that stress, which is the reaction and the response, there's a stressor, which is the factor that is causing that. So what is the factor that we can eliminate to support us in eliminating the stress? And an example of this is, like, for me, being late. If I am late for anything, especially like an event, it will send me into a panic attack because I just never want to be late. That's a standard that I have for myself. So if the stressor, the factor that will completely trigger me, is being late, then, and it leads to the stress, how can we, for example, not allow this stressor to be a factor, right? Well, maybe I can get ready and make sure that I always show up 15 minutes early. So I like wake up earlier, or I set my timer earlier, or whatever that is. So that way we're at least decreasing the stressor, and therefore we're decreasing the stress. So that's one thing. But what if, for example, you're going to work and you go to work and you have this like really unevolved coworker who's mean and rude and sassy, and it hurts your feelings when she says these passive aggressive comments, right? So every day you go to work, and the stressor might be that factor you can't really get away from because that's your daily experience, right? So what if we can't really delete that, and then we go home, we are stuck with the stress? Well, there are many things that we can do to support you in alleviating the stressor, right? In that example, we could talk to an HR manager, we can talk to a manager, you could talk to that person directly and say, hey, this is how you're making me feel, and I'm just curious to see, is anything up, or is there a reason why you're saying that? Because I was just really confused. You guys, I have done that before. So I highly recommend it, because then they're like, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't know, and they like don't expect you to talk to them about it. So you should. And we could do it in a kind and a loving way, and I can almost guarantee that their energy will shift. And if they don't, then you can go to a manager or something else, or you talk to me and I'll support you in that, and navigating. But that's an example of how we can resolve that stressor. But what do we do when we go home, we have that stress? When we're thinking about, you know, the stress that we had at work, thinking about, oh my gosh, I have to go back into work and I have so much that I have to do. And all of a sudden, what it feels like for me is like imagine like a racetrack, right? And there's this race car, and it's like, bzz, 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 and it drives again and again and again. And I'm like, I can't believe she said that. And this happened, and this happened, this happened. Then I have this tomorrow, and then I have this birthday party, and I have to get a gift, and then I have to wrap it, but I don't have the wrapping papers. Then I have to go to the Hallmark store, but then that's kind of expensive, so maybe I should go to Russ. And if I go to Russ, it's too far, it's on the other side of town. And all of a sudden we're in this panic attack, right? And we're so stressed, and so like, can you guys, hey Liz, can you guys like resonate with this? Does this land with you? Because this is totally the story of my life, and why this is so critical to understand that we can alleviate the stressor, right? We can shift that out of the way, do the best that we can, and recognize what the stress feels like, how the stress is in our body, and once we're aware of it, then we can cleanse it. So those feelings that you are feeling, their energy, what am I saying? Like the frequency of thought, there it is. The frequency of thought is translated into emotion. So what you're thinking about when you're stressed, it translates into emotion. And emotion is energy in motion. And so going back to that race car, like it's in motion, like bzz, it's like ding, 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 ding. All the meridian systems, all of the parts in my body, all of the organs are like feeling this pulsing of this stress. And that's why your hormones go up. Like your nervous system truly does have a response to this. Like your organs have a response to high levels of stress because you're pumping out all of these different hormones, because the fight or flight is happening, right? And like if you're going to be running from a bear, which is what it sometimes feels like when you're at, you know, in a typical job or a typical experience, and maybe you have like a family dinner and someone's really passive aggressive too, you're in fight or flight mode, and it's like bing, 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 sending off all of the things, and the stress cycle begins, and then you go home and the stress cycle is still continuing because the energy in motion is like bzz, 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 and we haven't allowed a way for it to be released. So then what happens is you go to bed at night and you can't think. And you can't, well, yeah, you can't think because there's too much going on in there. Like a bunch of like static going across the screen and our mental, our like clairvoyant sights here. But also you can't sleep because there's so much that's going on. You wake up in the morning, you're feeling exhausted because guess what? The energy is still in motion. The stress cycle is still continuing. So how do we end that? How do we prevent, in this example, like the tires burning out? Imagine if it is the racetrack, right? If you keep going, the tires are gonna burn out. Like the engine is gonna blow up. We have to give it a break. We have to end the cycle for our sanity, for our mental health, for our spiritual health, for everything. So it is really important. And of course, we always have the physical things that we can do to support this, of making sure that you're getting enough sleep during the day, because that's when your body recovers, eating healthy, drinking enough water, and having a really strong support system. Those are all very, like, we all deserve those things. But I want to give you some alternative tools of what you can use and what I recommend for my clients, and what's definitely worked for me. So one of them is definitely verbal. If you're feeling that, how you can complete the stress cycle and basically give your body a break, it needs like an out. Like if here's the track, you want it to have like an exit. And one of the things you can do is verbally process. So I do have my really tight-knit, close group of BFFs who I love, and I do communicate with them on 𝗶𝘁𝗄𝗧, which is like a walkie-talkie app if you're not familiar. And so sometimes, all the time, if I need to process something that I'm feeling stressed out or angry about, I will go for a walk and I'll just 𝗶𝘁𝗀. And they do the same for me, where we can hold space for that. And just verbally processing and like crying and being angry, and sometimes saying the things that you normally wouldn't say but you need to say in that moment, allows it to come to the surface and come out. And you know, I'll tell you this because I had an experience recently. I didn't want to bring this up. I'm not even going to get specific. But I had an experience recently where it made me so livid, so angry. I had this expectation, and I paid a person to do this thing, and I did not get what I wanted. And I was really, really, really angry. And yeah, I won't go into the whole story because I love the person who did it, but it was just still, I was really, really disappointed. And anyways, I was feeling all of that anger, and I 𝗶𝘁𝗀'd my friend. She's so wise. I love her so much. And I was like, I am so fucking mad at my angels. I'm so mad at my angels. I'm mad at the universe. Like, I did this in a sacred space. Like, I trusted this. I invested in this. I thought this was the right thing. You didn't warn me. You didn't tell me. Like, I feel betrayed, and like all these things. I know this is bananas that you guys are hearing me say those things, because I'm all about ultimate trust and faith in the universe, which I do. But I was so mad that this happened. And I was like, I trusted you and you didn't show up for me, and this and this and this. I verbally processed that with my friend, and I got all of those, the energy and motion that I was feeling around. I was like, zzz. I like took it all up to the surface and went and got it out. And then my friend was like, Ashley, the universe never messes up, and your angels don't mess up. If you don't see the lesson in it now, and I'm like, thank you. I needed this spanking. She's like, if you don't see the lesson in it right now, then more is yet to be revealed. And I was like, you're right. I don't see the lesson yet. but I know it's coming. But the moral of the story is verbally processing, giving yourself permission to take all of that to only trusted people, right? We don't want to be the person who's like constantly complaining and like dumping our stuff on our friends. That's not what it is. Like, you want to have people who are open and available to hold that space for you, but give yourself permission to verbally process. Even what I've also done is I have voice recorded on just my regular iPhone. I voice recorded so I can get it out, and I didn't have to share with anybody. I could just delete it, and that was really, really helpful. So that's number one. Okay, number two, as far as the verbal processing of this, in a way, is scream into a pillow. I know this sounds crazy. I know it does. It's actually one of my favorite things to do, because, hey Megan, hey Grace, and I know, actually Grace, I feel like you probably have done this. You've probably screamed into a pillow because you're my people and you get this. And what happens, all the energy is zipping around, and what we usually tend to do is like hold it in, and like, I'm a nice pretty lady, and I wear my pretty makeup and my high heels, and I keep things right and tight, and I don't explode or cry or have needs because I'm a lady. Like, that's like our programming in our society, right? No, like, I call BS on that. If you are feeling all of the feelings, you might not even identify what the feelings are. You might have anxiety, and we can kind of label them in those ways, but you might be feeling everything inside of your nervous system. And if that is true, let it come to the surface. Think about it. Be angry. Be angry. You are allowed to be angry. If you let it sit in your system, it's going to turn to disease. Grace says, you know, I get weird. Yeah, girl, I know. Like, you're my people. Like, this in my clients, seriously, they have experienced the most amazing results. Like, I have cried seeing this is actually not one of my clients, but one of my friends when she did it with me. And it was just so amazing. And so I'll get into that in a minute. But anyways, what you do is you feel all of the emotion, you feel all of the stress, you feel all of the anger, everything. And then what you do is you take a pillow and you scream as loud as you can. You scream as loud as you can to that pillow. You fill your lungs all the way up to the very tippy top. You gather all of that energy, all of that emotion, and you scream. And you scream it all the way out to completion, to like the bottom of your lungs. And then, like, metaphorically, right? Fill it up to the top and you scream it out. And I recommend at least 3 screams. You're going to cry. You're going to feel like you're going to pass out. You're going to feel like, oh my gosh. If you can do 4 to get all the residual out, I highly, highly encourage it. It is the most empowering experience that I've ever seen. I'll tell you 2 stories about this. And it sounds weird, but you're screaming into a pillow, so like not a lot of people can hear. It is the most healing thing that you will ever, ever, ever experience. Okay, not ever, but it's, for me, that is the most healing thing I've ever experienced. So one of the examples, my friend and I, we did frog medicine. It's called combo. And anyways, what part of her processing is I was like, scream into a pillow. Like, part of combo is you have a purging experience, and so you like literally like throw up after you have this. Like, it's really, really deep medicine, like energetic and like trauma stuff that comes up, and you just like literally purge it. Yeah, it gets weird. But anyways, for her, she didn't have that purging experience, and I was like, scream into a pillow. And she was at my house, and so I was like, take this pillow, and I want you to scream it as loud as you can. I sobbed as she was screaming because I am psychic, and so I see things very like, you know, clairvoyantly. And as she was screaming, I saw so much trauma, like this timeline of trauma come out from when she was a little girl and when she experienced this and when she experienced that and this breakup and that. And she screamed it all out. And I was crying. She was crying. The practitioner was emotional. It was so powerful. And then she's like, oh my gosh, like, I feel like I found my voice. I feel like that roar that I used to have as a kid when you had permission to take your shirt off and say, roar, I'm a monster. You know, like, we don't do that as ladies because we're ladies and to fit into the box of society, right? F that. You got to end the stress cycle. We got to get that out. Give yourself permission to roar. Another time I saw this was I was at an ecstatic dance, which is basically you just play really awesome music and everybody just like dances freestyle and it's nothing choreographed and you just like move your body and see whatever feels great. Love ecstatic dance. One of my favorite things. Oh, hey, Morgan, you're on here too. And yeah, one of my favorite things. And I saw this girl, it was so empowering. It like made me teary-eyed. At Ecstatic Dance, there's like hundreds of people there. There can be. And there's like this altar. And the altar is just a place where you can sit and lay down and just relax if you want to, or you can pray, or you can meditate, you can do whatever you want in this space. And what this girl did, I can't really show you here, but she was sitting on her knees. She threw her arms back and she threw her chest up and her mouth up and she screamed and she sat up and I saw her hands and as they went back behind her, they were like this, like fully tense and she just like screamed so loud. And I looked at her like, is everything okay? And she was just like letting everything out. And then she did it again. Now, some of you guys on here are thinking, this is crazy. But those of you who know, you know, this works. And I feel that we need to, especially as women and men on here too, we need to take our power back. You are not hurting anybody by tapping into your power, remembering who you are, and that little kid who used to do the exact same thing, right? Like, I was talking to my friend this morning and her son got on and she's like, say hi, Ashley. And he's like, hi, Ashley. And I'm, are you the Hulk today? Like, yeah, I am. Like, permission to use that big girl voice, that big kid voice, you know, be the Hulk if you want to. And it is so cleansing because, again, all that is zipping around and you just give it permission to get out. That's my favorite tool. I could totally end it there, but it has some other tools that you can do too if it's a little bit wild for you. What I would recommend after you scream into that pillow is have some sort of, because it's so heightened and you get it out, you get that feeling and the energy out. I would encourage you as a gentle like let down, or I don't know what this is called, like a ramp. What I would recommend for you to do is put on your headphones, your whatever headphones that you have, and I'm going to drop a song. It's called the Trigger Protection Mantra, and it's by, I think her name is like 𝗶𝘂𝘀𝗁, I need to find out how to say it. She's fantastic. And I did this the other day and I listened to it for 15 minutes. I found the song, I put it on repeat, and then I set my timer for 15 minutes and I just laid there on the couch and I just received. And basically what the song is saying is, you know, you're okay, calm down, slow down, it's safe to be in your body. And so after you have that purging experience energetically, permission to just receive and heal and come back to your body and say, I'm here for you. We're not going to let those people say those things. Like, if they do, you can handle it. We'll move through it together. It's not me versus you. It's me and you together. And that is so important for us to come back home to our bodies. So I will drop that song below, a screenshot so you can find it on YouTube or Spotify or Apple Music if you would like. That is like my new hack for sure. Scream it, verbally process. If that doesn't work, scream it into a pillow and then give yourself time, like 10, even 5 minutes to listen to that song and allow yourself to relax. And I cannot guarantee any results because it is based on your own efforts, but I know, I'm so confident that if you do that, whatever you are that's feeling inside, things are going to shift. You guys know in manifestation, we don't create abundance. Abundance is all around us. We create blocks to the abundance. Part of the blocks to our abundance is the emotional constipation that we shove so deep inside that we can't even breathe. And so get that out, and you're gonna start seeing like, wow, like I can breathe, I can sing. I had my client the other day, she got emotional. She sent me a voice message. I wish I could take a screenshot of it, but she sent me a voice message and she's like, I'm so emotional because, yeah, she did the scream into the pillow exercise. She did. And then I told her, I'm like, sing, sing, sing. I'm pretty sure that she had done that, yeah. Sing, and she's like, usually I would sing and after like a couple of songs or something, my throat would be really, really sore. And she's like, I've been singing at the top of my lungs for hours, and since I did that, she's like, I can sing. I've always wanted to do this. She's like, I found my power. It's safe for me to use my voice. When I use my voice doesn't try to like close up and say, oh wait, no, don't be quiet. She's like, it's singing, like it's out and it's loud and it's safe to do that. So give yourself permission. You can tell I'm really, really passionate about that because it's really important. And then give yourself like a time. Don't just like hop in the car and pick up your kids from school or like, do something really fast afterwards. Give your body a little bit of time, 5 to 10, 15 minutes to integrate what you've just done, because that is deep, deep, deep spiritual work. And again, I'll drop that link below. So that's number one, is like verbally, whether you're talking it out or you're like getting it out in a screaming way, very, very powerful. Other ways is definitely to work out. People who work out do this very, very well. You'll tend to like more intense exercises like kickboxing or CrossFit or even like running. We're running long distances or sprinting, because what it does is it gives an out for that energy. It needs to sweat out of your pores. It needs to sweat as you're breathing, right? Because when you work out, your heart rate goes up, like your breath, you're exhaling that. And I know for me, when I do kickboxing and I'm like I'm punching the bag, and I'm like, oh yeah, this feels good. And I'm like, and this and this and this and this made me mad. And I just get it all out. And what happens is when you punch, there we go. When you punch, the energy goes right through your arms and into the bag, and it goes. And so that's really, really important. Even if you don't have a bag and you decide to punch your pillow. You guys, I've done this too. I've been so mad, and I never want to hurt anybody. Like, I actually don't have that in me. I have like a no-kill policy, even for bugs, except for mosquitoes and flies, which they should count, and I'm sorry, but I'm just not there yet. Those are only 2, but there's no kill in my house. But anyways, when you, where's I going with that? But when you punch, it goes out of that space, and that's why, like, what's the dynamic or the engineering term for whatever that is, but the moral of the story is that you want to get it out. Oh, when you're punching your pillow, I never want to hurt anybody, that's where I was going, but punch it, like get it out, feel the feelings, bring it to the top and get them out. Like, you are gonna feel so good. And this might sound childish, but you know what, it's because kids know what they're talking about, which is why they probably do this anyway, and they feel great, and then like 2 seconds later they're like, hey, what's for breakfast, Okay, so a workout, you can definitely punch your pillow. Another thing I had is, if you guys are into archery, it's something that I thought about, or something that allows you to concentrate and channel your energy. That would be really, really powerful as well. And I had the vision as I was writing out this outline for archery, because when you, forgot how you do it. But when you bring the string back, you're focusing your energy on what it is. And what I would do is I would bring it right by your eye. I would say like if I hit this target, I'm hitting my goals. That's what I would say. And then I go, woo, and then I'd hit it. And like you're channeling and you're focusing that energy into one space and one point in time. And that's another way that you can think, bring it all there and just shoot and let it loose. So I'm not sure how many of you guys are in archery, but that is what came through. Another final and third thing, a way of like, once you've like completed that stress cycle, right, we're allowing it to be released, and the exit from our energy system is the support. You know, like kids are great. Maybe you are coming home from work and you're feeling really stressed, or you had this experience where your friends again were passive aggressive or something embarrassing happened. What you can do to kind of end that cycle is everything we said above, especially if it's really intense, but just play with your kids or with a kid. And, you know, like, hey, I want to pick up my niece for a little bit, whatever that looks like, because they bring so much joy and they allow you to relax. And also animals. You guys know I'm getting my puppy. I hit my goals multiple times over. And my second goal before getting a puppy was to have a dream house. And I manifested that within 6 months of 2020. And I thought it was going to take years. So definitely getting a puppy, and hopefully it'll be at the end of the year. So right now I'm like dog sitting our family's dog, because it's so important to have that emotional support animal where if you do feel stressed, or if you feel that anxiety, or you feel those things bubble up, maybe it's not as severe where you need to scream it into a pillow. Maybe it is that you just need a hug. And again, that's kind of coming back to our body too, of like, we are safe and you are supported. And whether it's for you, or you and your animal, or your partner, that's another really big one where I just tell my husband, I'm like, I just need you to hold me. I just need you to hold me, and that's it. You don't even have to talk. I just need that. Give yourself permission for that space, because it's a beautiful way to complete the stress cycle. So that way you're not running, it's not running in your nervous system and your psyche all night. So with that, I would love to see like what stood out to you guys the most. What are you willing to try? What are you willing to implement? And what I notice a lot of the times is people are like, yeah, I have stress and I want to get rid of it. And then they don't do the work, which is so bananas to me, because, oh, hey, Savvy, you're on here too. I love you. We gotta do the work. Otherwise, it stays in your system, and you're gonna see your health decline, you're gonna see your motivation decline, your sleep decline, you're gonna see like so many things that will crash. And a lot of times people are like, Ashley, how are you so happy? How do you have so much energy? You guys, I scream into a pillow. I scream into a pillow, so I am not bogged down by the foggy energy of the trapped emotions that are in my space. I do the work. And I know that you are capable of doing the work too. So I would love to know, what are you willing to, I love you, sweet friend. Thanks, Sav. What are you willing to change? What are you willing, which one of these tips are you willing to do and improve? And also tell me about your story with anxiety or stress. And are you feeling that burden? All the things. How can I best support you? So with that, I wish you guys an amazing day full of amazing things. And I will see you next time. I have a backlog of videos that I want to do and I plan to do that you guys had said that you wanted to see. But I would like to know, for Wisdom Drop Wednesday, I can't commit every week that I will be able to show up on here live. But I got in a fancy new office now, so I might as well. And great lighting. Did you guys like these office decor? Like, I'm totally open to interpretation because I'm still working on things, and I would love your ideas on how I can decorate this office. But with that being said, I'm gonna be doing more videos. I would love to know what content you would love to see. Things that come with my client, I decided clients, I'm going to put them into these videos because there's such valuable takeaways and they've been experiencing such fantastic results. So I love you guys, and I hope you have an amazing day, and I will see you next time. Bye.